What's been going on, my fellow A-plussers? It's your boy Adam Perez. We're back once again with a brand new video today as we have a little bit of an update for you guys. If you've been watching A-Plus Hero Report, our Sunday live shows, over the past several months, we've been keeping you up to date in regards to what is turning out to be one of my more anticipated films down the line. And that is, in fact, the live-action adaptation of a 1980s cartoon by the name of Voltron. You may or may not be familiar with Voltron. Netflix just recently dropped a brand new modernized animated series for it within the past several years. Ran for about 4 or 5 seasons, titled Voltron Legendary Defender. I absolutely love this series, but again, I grew up in the 80s, so the idea of the Voltron series back in the 80s was one of my favorites. I even had one of the big, heavy, sort of die cast Voltron models that you can pull apart, play with the individual lines if you wanted to, put them back together to go ahead and form Voltron. It was a huge part of my childhood. So the idea of us getting a live action Voltron anything has certainly sent me through the roof, man. I'm really highly anticipating it. And so over the past several weeks, we've been keeping you up to date in regards to some of its development, some of the casting news as well. But I got to admit, there is an update that snuck past me that really got me excited that I personally wanted to share with you guys. Mind you, this update came back on October 26th, which will technically be 2 weeks from tomorrow. So keep that in mind when we dive into this. But I wanted to go ahead and share this with you because this gentleman right here is the director of the upcoming film. His name is Rawson Marshall Thurber. He's got some comments for us Voltron fans and a little bit of an update in regards to what we can certainly expect and even a little bit of a tease of one of the set pieces that they're working on. What I found interesting personally from this, we'll go ahead and watch it, but if you look at sort of the graph behind him, you see things like common room, hangar, throne room, bridge, blue line cockpit, red line cockpit. Well, I guess my camera's kind of in the way here, but I am kind of curious if this is in fact sort of a breakdown of some of the shooting schedule that they have in mind or what they're currently working on. So little tidbits here and there, but I think that this update from Rawson Marshall Thurber is certainly one worth checking out. So guys, let's go ahead and dive into this, shall we?
Hi, everyone. I'm Rawson Marshall Thurber, the writer-director of the upcoming Voltron movie from Amazon MGM Studios. I wish I could be with you all at VoltCon right now, but I'm down here in the Gold Coast of Australia.
First off, he said VoltCon. I have no idea there was even a Voltron convention. I need to get tickets sometime.
Be with you all at VoltCon right now, but I'm down here in the Gold Coast of Australia preparing to make the movie. We're about 6 weeks out from shooting. I'm incredibly excited.
Did you hear that? They are 6 weeks out from shooting. Now, look, I feel like there are projects sometimes that it's like I gotta hold my breath and cameras start rolling before I believe that something is actually happening. So the fact alone that while we have been getting Voltron news and stuff over the past couple of weeks, there has been sort of like that pessimistic side of me that's like, man, is this movie really happening? And the fact that we did get a casting announcement here recently, which we'll go ahead and dive into, it's starting to kind of make things a little bit more of a reality. But how many times have we heard somebody been cast for something and then only for things to certainly get delayed and pushed down the line? So the fact that he says we are 6 weeks away from shooting, technically as of this Saturday, ladies and gentlemen, it will only be 4 weeks left. So cameras are getting ready to roll in about a month's time, and talk about update to certainly say the least. He says, I'm really excited. No, Rawson, I'm really excited right now, buddy.
Incredibly excited. Um, I love Voltron since I was a boy, and I've wanted to make this movie since I was 8 years old. And so to finally have the chance to bring Voltron to life is beyond thrilling to me. I want to make sure that we stay true to the heart and the spirit of Voltron. In this film, we're going to be introducing an entirely new generation of pilots. We've reimagined Voltron for the live action world, but
Woo! My God, man. My God. Um, First off, the reimagining Voltron for sort of like a modern world. I'm eager to kind of see what that vision and scope of it really is going to be. And we'll talk about the scope of this film here in just a second, quite frankly. But one, Rawson to me sounds like a genuine fan of the series itself. And the fact that he says we're going to be introducing people to a new generation of pilots. Look, I am a big fan of the original pilots. Keith, Lance, Sven, Pidge, Hunk, Princess Alora. I mean, I was a huge fan of all of them to the point to where even like as a kid, believe it or not, I used to not necessarily like my name Adam so much. And for like a brief couple of years, I always used to think to myself, man, when I get older and I could legally change my name, I'm gonna change it to Keith. Keith is such a badass. Like I used to love Keith from Voltron, but there is something really enticing about the idea of introducing us to a brand new generation of pilots. It does make me beg the question for Rawson here in the sense of will the lore and the mythology of those that came before, previous pilots that came before, be told in here? How many generations have we been separated from pilots like Keith and Pidge and Hunk and things like that? So I am kind of curious as to, how far since the series is this particular movie now going to go ahead and be placed in? And so for me, when he says we're going to be introduced to a new generation of pilots, it really kind of puts this update that we wind up getting from Hollywood Reporter into sort of a whole new um into a whole new meaning for me in the sense of Henry Cavill to star in Voltron for Amazon MGM exclusive. He is going to be in this movie. And there was a part of me for quite some time that thought to myself, like, is he going to be a mentor to some of these kids? Is he going to potentially maybe even play a villain in here? I still think the idea of Henry Cavill possibly being a villain is certainly up in the air. But now that I know it's a new generation of pilots, it does make me wonder if Henry Cavill is sort of one of these brand new pilots, or if he's going to find himself as being the mentor, if you will, of these kids. Is he maybe like, is he Keith, like an older Keith? Is he an older Lance? Is he an older somebody else for all I know, right? Is he hunk just now in shape after all these years? That I don't know. But I got to tell you, it definitely puts into perspective Henry Cavill's casting a little bit more. So the idea of a new generation of pilots is certainly right up my alley, man. So I'm really excited for this. But he goes on to say a little bit more here as well.
We're going to stay true to the heart and the spirit of Voltron and those iconic elements that you love, that I love. And so I'm so excited to share it with you. Um, it's taken us 40 years to get here, but I
40 years.
promise you it will be worth the wait.
That just ages
I
me.
gotta go, but before I go, I wanted to take you all on a sneak peek. I'm gonna take you over to stage 8, where we're building one of our bigger Voltron sets, just to share with you the scope and the scale and the grandeur that we're going for on this film. So come on with me. I probably get in trouble for this, but don't tell anyone.
I won't tell.
All
I won't
right, here
tell.
we go. Gold Coast of Australia. Infracels up. Mega thrusters are go. One of the coolest things about getting to make a movie is that you don't make a movie by yourself. You make it with hundreds of other artists and collaborators who help bring your vision to life, much like these people right here. Say hi, everybody. Hi. All right, let's go Voltron Force. Woo!
First off, do you see this set piece back here? When he talks about um scope and the size and scale and grandeur in here. This is a huge set piece. This very much looks like the throne room that we saw possibly on his back schedule in the previous shot that he was certainly in. But I love the long corridor in here. I love the hallway. I don't know if there's a throne at the end of that hallway or whatever the case may be, but considering that they recorded this six weeks in, clearly a lot more work to certainly go into putting this throne room together in much more high detail. Maybe this isn't like going to be one of their very first shots that they have plans on, so they probably have a little bit more time to put this together. But when I think of Voltron, I think of something that's like on a scale of just something very intergalactic, if you will, like just something that asks for like a space epic, if you will. You know what I mean? And so when I think of that, I think of big set pieces where everything is just so grandiose around you. And the fact that they are implementing a lot of set pieces in here, I don't know what other technology they're going to be using, whether it's going to be something like the volume or whatever the case may be. But I do love seeing the hard work that goes into putting these big set pieces together, because then that just really allows the actor and those around them to be fully invested in the scene and give their best performances because they personally feel like they're certainly in there. And when I think of the Castle of Lions or whatever the case may be, I think of just big, grandiose sort of set pieces. And the scope and scale of this movie is not going to be small whatsoever. And I do think the tease of this set that they're working on is certainly proof of that. So I truly can't wait to see what this series is, or this film itself is certainly going to turn out to be, ladies and gentlemen. I'm hoping that this works out for them. I'm certainly keeping my fingers crossed that this is going to be a successful and really well made movie. I'm not too familiar with Rawson's work as far as director goes. I'm not even quite sure who the writer of this is certainly going to be, but I love the energy. I love that they all clearly seem to be fans of Voltron. And trust me when I say, if you're an 80s kid, and you've watched Voltron, or maybe you haven't watched Voltron, but you grew up in the 80s, you probably heard of Voltron. I definitely do think that there's some level of anticipation for what this movie could certainly be. Now, with it being through Amazon MGM, I will be curious if we're going to get ourselves a theatrical version. When I think of Voltron, I think of really big space epics, politics, battles in space, big mech battles also as well. So I really can't wait. I do think that has the elements of certainly being a hit, but we'll see how everything comes together. But that was just one of the brand new updates I wanted to share with you, because technically we are about 4 weeks out from filming. So keep our fingers crossed that everything certainly goes smoothly. But look, guys, these are simply my A+ opinions. I want to know yours. What do you think about production for Voltron getting ready to get started here within the next couple of weeks? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section box below. But until then, do me a big favor, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.